Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Unconventional Counseling. Today we are doing another reading from the Four Agreements. We're talking about agreement number 2, which is don't take anything personally. Whew, this is a hard one. Let me sit up for this because this agreement, when practiced, will change your perception of everything, every relationship, every dynamic. It will shift so much if you practice it and if you allow it. So let me read from it. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you're stupid, without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you're stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does this person know? Are they clairvoyant? Or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you and you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It's because of themselves. Whew. Even when a situation seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, this agreement, I think, is really big. Whew, just let it sink in for a little moment, because to actually operate from a place that says that what your mom does, what your dad does, what your brothers or sisters do, what your cousins do, what strangers do, what coworkers do, what people say has nothing to do with you, even if they use your name in it. It's freeing. It's mind-boggling. It's different. It's different. The first thing that it makes me think of, though, are projections. I feel like projection is one of those buzzwords that people use all the time because there's like a sort of like pop psychology that goes around. Everybody wants to talk about healing. So everybody knows about the word projection. Just about everybody knows. And so I wanted to look up what a projection was. I know what it is. We all know what it is. But what I found was so interesting. Projection is the misinterpretation, the misunderstanding that what is going on inside of us is happening outside of us. Something outside of us is causing the feeling that we're feeling. This is so interesting because I think that oftentimes people are talking about projections, they're talking about what someone else is doing. They're saying, this person is projecting. I can see it clear as day. They're upset about this, but that has nothing to do with me. They're upset about this other thing, but I didn't do it. They're projecting. Can we see with as much clarity when we are projecting? Can we see with as much clarity when someone critiques us, or when someone seems just so upset by us and seems like they want so much from us, maybe, that's not about us either. And that maybe we're projecting, that if we feel guilt when we don't show up for someone because we think that they're going to be so upset, that maybe we're projecting. Or if there's just so many nuances, right? If someone else is, I'm trying to think of a juicy one. Let's say you're having a phone conversation with someone that you don't typically talk to, or you're having a conversation with someone you don't know very deeply, very well. And there are lulls in the conversation. There's times when it's really quiet and you start to feel uncomfortable. And then you start to think, oh no, am I doing something wrong? Is this person expecting more from me? Are they uncomfortable? Am I supposed to be saying more? Why is it so uncomfortable? It's awkward. It's awkward because you don't know them. That's all. It's a projection. And when we recognize that it's a projection, whether that someone else is doing towards us or that we are doing towards them, it kind of frees us up a little bit and we can zoom out and see a little bit of the bigger picture. Something that I find really interesting though is that, and I don't know if this is true, but what if all of our connections with one another are projections? Like what if just about everything that we do and say to each other, about each other, is a projection? Have you ever thought of that? Like, is there anything that's not a projection? Bear with me, because there's something that goes further in this book that I feel like speaks to that a little bit. Alright, it says, I know that when you are happy, you will tell me, you are such an angel. But when you're mad at me, you'll say, oh, you're horrible, you're disgusting, you're such a devil. Either way, it doesn't affect me because I know what I am. I don't have the need to be accepted. Most of us do have the need to be accepted, have the desire to be seen, to be understood, to be accepted, to be received, to belong. So many of us are walking around with these insecurities, wishing, hoping that we could just receive something different than maybe we received in our formative years. There's so many people that are walking around with wounds around neglect, abuse, being misunderstood so deeply, being critiqued again and again, being in spaces where they were told that they weren't smart enough, or they felt like they weren't smart enough. They were told that they weren't quick enough, or they felt like things around them were moving too quickly. They were told that they weren't kind. Maybe they were told that they were very mean or very cold. Or there were situations that they were in where they felt like people expected something else. People expected more care. People expected more compassion, more empathy. And they didn't have it in the moment. So they started to believe that there was something up with them. There's so many moments that add up to a life. There are so many moments that add up to wounds and traumas and insecurities. And I'm just thinking about the formative years. I'm thinking about the times in your life, the formative relationships and the childhoods, that we each had, and how insecurities can be compounded and they can turn into core wounds. And from that place, they become like lenses on glasses, and we see the world through our pain. We see the world through these insecurities. And we see the world as that little inner child who's hurt. We see so much of what's outside of us as bigger than us, scary, as having more power than us, as wanting to harm us, wanting to put us down, wanting to oppress us. And then we move through the world from this place with these lenses. We move through the world in this way of expecting and perceiving and constantly seeing that when we are uncomfortable, or when we feel sad, or when we feel uncertain, or when we feel insecure, that someone outside of us is doing something to create that. Or vice versa, it's happening to us. So what if so many of the times that you've been hurt in relationship, there were projections going on, that you weren't being seen fully. The other person or other people weren't seeing themselves fully, and you weren't seeing yourself fully. What if you're on a journey to discover who you are, what you are, who your soul is in this world, in this time that we're in? On this journey, you might discover more about that universal phrase that, like, as within, so without. That if you practice more loving kindness, if you practice more warmth, if you practice more empathy, if you have more fun in your life, if you smile more or find reasons to smile, if you practice more gratitude, you may start to see your life walking down the street, your life interacting with others, you may start to see the world differently. So I have a challenge for you, and I'm gonna do it too. Whenever you see this video, the whole next day, either if you see it early in the morning, on a day, that day, if you see it like late at night or something, the whole next day, try not to take the things personally. Things that happen, the things that are said, the things that are done, try not to take it personally. So, let's give some examples. Someone on the street is catcalling you. It's really uncomfortable. You may not enjoy it. It's not about you. It's not about what you're wearing. It's not about how you look. It's about that person. See if you can remind yourself, that's not about me, it's about them. Another example. Let's say you're buying something and you're about to check out, and someone is, whether they're following you, someone that works there, whether they're following you or they seem very interested in what you're doing, they're trying to, like, I don't know, maybe they think you're stealing. It just seems like the energy seems really off. When you're through with that situation, try to remind yourself, that's not about me. It's not about the color of my skin. That's not about how I look. That's not about how I identify. It's not about me. It's about them. Let's say, another example. Let's say, let's bring it closer to home. Let's say you're interacting with a friend that you consider family or a family member. Someone that's like close, someone that means something to you. Maybe it's not sweet all the time, but they mean something to you, like you care about this person a lot. And they say something like, you haven't called me in so long. I feel like you don't even care. Whether in that moment or after the fact, try to remind yourself, this isn't about me. I might have called that person, you might have called that person every day. You might have been checking on that person once a week. You might not have called. Whatever you did, it's not about you. It's about them. They're feeling something. They're feeling lonely. They're feeling sad. They're feeling scared. And they don't know how to say, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling scared. So instead, they're projecting. Well, we're gonna leave this reading here, this little book club reading session, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Next time we're gonna be reading The Third Agreement. I'll see y'all very soon. Bye. Take care.